Okay, hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. In this second session of our microlearning program, as you know, this is a program with a very short, very concentrated trainings related with very interesting topics. Today we are talking about ventilation systems in LEED, BREEAM, and WELL certifications. I think it's a very interesting topic in the world of the building and the installations. I'm Carlos Martinez. I'm head of training and knowledge transfer department here in SODECA. And let's talk very briefly about the housekeeping of this training. As always, we will have a Q&A time at the end of the presentation. So all the questions you have during the presentation, you can just write down in the tab you have in the panel control on your right. And as always, at the end of the presentation, I will share with you the PDF with the slides, so you don't need to take any notes or screenshots because you will have the presentation. Okay. So let's start with this presentation. We are talking today about sustainability and energy efficiency certification. We select these three: LEED, BREEAM, and WELL, as representative of all the certification we could find related with building design, health, well-being, and energy efficiency. And let's start with a little bit of introduction, talking about the importance of the energy efficiency and the sustainability in the building world, in the building context. Okay, here you have it's a really interesting data about the country overshoot days in 2019. Okay, ecological it's a mistake. It's not footprint. It's food, not food. We are not talking about nourishment. We are talking about energy efficiency and emissions. And here you could see how many planet Earths do we need to maintain our current activities, to emit all the pollutants we are emitting nowadays, and to absorb all the waste we are producing with our daily activities. Okay, as you can see, we will need an average of 1.75 planet Earths in order to sustain our current activities. As you can imagine, we only have one planet Earth, so that's really important data about the importance of reducing our emissions, reducing our energy consumption in order to be more sustainable. Okay, if you are interested in how many planet Earths do you need in function of the country you live, here you have a really nice example. And I think this is a very important data to understand why legislations and standards are changing so fast in order to adapt ourselves to reduce these emissions and to reduce the energy consumption. Okay, talking about the environmental impacts and the energy consumption in buildings, we can talk about the percentage of energy consumption that represent building world. Okay, and we can see that up to 40% of the energy consumed globally is related to the construction industry. Okay, if we make an overview of the emissions, the global greenhouse gas emissions that are responsibility for the construction industry is up to 36%. Okay, and this is not a problem that is going to solve by himself, because it's estimated that by 2060 the world's building stock could be double. Okay, it could multiply per 2. So this is going to be a problem that it will increase more and more if we don't take part and we don't have solutions to reduce the energy consumption. The main contributions to the greenhouse gas emissions are these activities related with heating and cooling inside the the buildings, up to 42% of these emissions are related with heating and cooling activities. So as we will see in the next slides, speaking about buildings, we need to put our focus to bear in mind that we need to reduce the energy consumption related with these heating and cooling activities, okay? And ventilation systems has a key factor in these reductions, okay? As important as the energy efficiency is the health and the well-being of the people that are currently using the buildings, okay? Not only residential buildings, but offices, commercial, this kind of building that we use day per day, and we spend the most of our time inside the building. So it's very important to preserve the good conditions, the good environment inside this building. And here we have some data that enlight the importance of maintaining a good indoor air quality inside our buildings. For example, the 40% of the lung cancers cases worldwide are due to radon. Radon is a natural pollutant that can accumulate inside our buildings and is the second leading cause of lung cancer, only behind smoking. Okay, if we speak about another very important pollutant, that is the particulate matter, PM 2.5, we could see that this pollution related with particles is responsible for the reduction in life expectancy in an average of 2.3 years. So we need to bear in mind that diseases are not matter of bad luck. Diseases and our life expectancy is very, very related with our environment, with our decisions, with the kind of buildings we are living, we are working, we are spending our free time. Another interesting data is that there are so many pollutants that are in higher concentration indoors than outdoors. For example, the volatile organic compounds is estimated that these concentrations are 10 times higher inside our building than outside, okay? And speaking a little bit more about economics, it's calculated that if we make improvements in our buildings, improving their indoor air quality, improving the thermal comfort, we can obtain up to $2,000 per employee in the positive net present value. So investment in indoor air quality is not only good for our health, it's also good for the economics, the global economics of a company. So that's why it's so important, these approaches related with indoor air quality and energy efficiency using, for example, building certifications. And we are talking today about three different building certifications. Two of them are more related with sustainability and energy efficiency, as we could see. BREEAM and LEED put the focus on the energy efficiency and the sustainability. And on the other hand, WELL certification is more related to create a very good environment for the users of the building, and is more related, as we will see, with health, with well-being, and with comfort. Okay, so let's do a little review about these three certifications that had some points in common and other differences between them. Let's start with LEED certification, that is leadership and in energy and environmental design. This is a certification that was developed by United States Green Building Council. Okay, it is an American certification and has different rating systems in function of the building types or phase we want to certify. Sorry. So one of the most used rating system is this you have in the first picture, that is building design and construction, that is mainly designed for new construction or major renovations. Okay, We will have another option for example, focusing on interior design, maintenance, to see the big picture of the neighborhood development in the cities, and also for residential one. But I think the most used is the building design and construction, that also includes a specific application for schools, retail, hospitality, data centers, warehouse, healthcare, all kinds of buildings we can imagine that has specifics that we need to take into account, but at the end of the day are based on the same certification, the LEED certification, okay? Each one of these rating systems you have in the image is divided in credit categories, okay? As we will see in the next slide, there are different credit categories that could earn ourselves extra points by implementing different actions, okay? The final sum of these actions we take, we will have a final point, and it's related with the final certification level, okay? We can obtain, for example, in the LEED certification, just a certified building, a silver one, a gold one, and a platinum, that is the better certification in function of the action we take in our design, in our plan, okay? Here we have the main credit categories that we can find in LEED certification. There are integrative process, location and transport, sustainable plots, and so many different credit categories. But among these, the two more related to ventilation systems are energy and atmosphere and indoor environmental quality. In the first one, there are two subcategories that gives extra points for reducing energy consumption in the buildings, and by using different strategies, like the use of efficient ventilation, system with heat recovery units, among others. We will see that most of these certifications are performance basis. So there is not a regulation about a specific technical equipment you need to use, but it's based on the performance, okay? If we obtain a significantly reduction in the energy consumption, we can apply as many strategies as we can think about it. And as we will see in the case study, ventilation systems are really related with this reduction of the energy consumption. In the second one, in indoor environmental quality, points are given for designing effective ventilation treatments following, in this case, ASRAI 62.1, okay, as LEED is an American standard. They bear in mind the using of the main standard in United States, that is ASRAI 62.1, okay? We will see an example also using ASRAI 62.1. Let's review now a little bit about BREEAM certification, that is Building Research Establishment Environmental Assessment Method, okay? This is a certification that was developed in the United Kingdom by the Building Research Establishment, BREEAM, okay? And it is very similar to LEED. BREEAM has different schemes. Instead of categories, we call it schemes. And these schemes are divided in function of the buildings types or phase, again, that we want to certify. From BREEAM in use to BREEAM for a new construction, okay? We have so many schemes to select in function of the type of building we want to certify. And each scheme is divided in categories, okay? We will see in the next slide again, the different categories we have. And the final user could earn points by implementing different actions. The final sum, again, of points is related. Now it's not related with only 4 categories, but we could go from not classified, approved, to excellent, exceptional building, okay? This is the classification that we could make with using BREEAM certification, okay? Here you have the main categories that we can find in BREEAM certification, again, are really similar to LEED categories. And we could find energy, water, materials, waste, helping, health, well-being, this kind of categories. Okay. Among these, again, there are two more related to ventilation system that are energy and health and well-being. As you can see, the structure is very similar to LEED certification. Okay. In the first one, in the energy category, there are three different subcategories that could give us extra points for reducing energy consumption in different buildings, again, by using different strategies like the use of efficient ventilation system, heat recovery, BMS, using the same control for all the installation in the building, using modules, for example, and this kind of strategies. Okay, again, we will see exactly in the case studies 2 or 3 examples. Okay. The second one, in health and well-being, the points are given for designing effective ventilation treatment following recognized indoor air quality standards. Is in this case is not necessarily using ASRAI 62.1. We could use it, but LEED allows us to use alternative recognized indoor air quality standards within, for example, the location of our building. So, for example, here in Spain, we could use RITE. In Portugal, in United Kingdom, in every country, we could use the more recognized standard speaking about indoor air quality. Okay. And finally, in this first part, let's talk a little bit about the WELL certification. Okay, this certification is a little bit different from the other two. There are two different types of projects: non-residential, that is normally the most used, and residential ones. Okay, each type of project again is divided in this case in concept. Okay, we have categories and now we have concepts that we will see again in the next slide. And again, the final sum of points is related with the final certification level: bronze, silver, gold, or platinum. Okay. Specifically speaking about the WELL concepts, there are 10 of them and are a little bit different because we have in common air, water, but we also applied good practices in nourishment of the people, the light, the movement inside the building, the thermal comfort, the mind, even to have spaces to relax ourselves, these kind of things. Okay. And in the case of the concept air, it's very related as you can see with indoor air quality, and this standard gives us extra points by implementing superior ventilation strategies or innovative technologies for microbiological control, for example. Okay. So let's see a specific let's see how specific ventilation solutions can help us to reduce, in this case, energy consumption and to earn extra point in this certification. We have here a case study for industrial buildings or warehouse. Okay, these buildings normally we could use conventional roof or wall fans for both daily ventilation and smoke control in case of fire. Okay, hatch fans are a very good alternative for reduce air leakage and preserve indoor temperatures. Okay, the two options are the conventional ones and the ones with hatches. This ventilation system, the hatch systems, combine efficient fans with high thermal performance enclosure, completely airtight and hermetic, with thermal break even and motorized opening. So the thermal transmittance value for this hatch system is very low, is under 0.5 watts per square meter per Kelvin. So whenever ventilation systems are not required, the building could maintain completely sealed and preserve energy and temperature inside. And this is the very interesting thing about use this alternative system, the hatch system, in comparison with the traditional ones. Okay. Here you have a case study that can allow us to realize the massive reductions in heat losses we can reach by using hatch system instead of conventional ones. For these buildings, for example, in very cold climates, when the winters are the temperatures are very extreme, normally we use heating system in order to control thermal comfort inside, okay? So hatch fans are key factors to reduce energy consumption. This strategy, if we use the hatch system solution instead of the traditional one, can contribute to earn up to 18 extra points in LEED certification and up to 15 extra points in BREEAM certification. Okay, so this is a very good solution in the case of warehouse or industrial buildings in order to reduce drastically. You could see the image that there are several heat losses due to the extractor are not used in the moment, but we have leakage and we are losing energy through the holes we have in the roof or in the wall. Okay, will be the same example. But using hatches fans, we will only keep open these holes in the cases we are using the ventilation system. So it's a very good option in order to reduce the energy consumption and to earn these extra points for the certifications, okay? A second example could be the case of the use of heat recovery units in non-residential buildings. For example, we have here an office with approximately 70 occupants here in Madrid, and it's an office of 240 square meters. If we are using, for example, a heating system like diesel boiler, we can calculate the annual consumption in heating and cooling by 64,000 kilowatt hour per year. Okay, so if we use a very effective heat recovery unit like the one you have in the screen, with up to 90% of energy efficiency recovering using it, and a consumption of 800 approximately kilowatt hour per year, we can in fact calculate the reduction in energy consumption and the reduction in the emission. As you could see, we use this document you have here in the bottom of the slide. That is a document registered by the energy ministry, let's say, in Spain, that allows us to calculate specifically using a specific formula the energy savings we are obtaining by using heat recovery units. As you could see, by implementing this action, we could reduce the energy consumption by 13,000 kilowatt hour per year, the emission of carbon dioxide by 8.5 thousand kilograms carbon dioxide per year. And if we translate it to economic saving, we are talking about more than 2,500 euros per year, okay, depending of the cost of the electricity. So again, we could earn so many extra points in both LEED and BREEAM certification in the part of energy savings, okay, by implementing effective heat recovery units in our projects, okay. The last example I want to show you, the last case study, is that as we saw in the last slides, we could implement efficient indoor air treatment strategies in order to reduce the concentration of pollutants and to improve the indoor air quality inside our buildings. Again, if we use the example of this office in Madrid with 70 occupants, we can earn extra point by applying or as rise 62.1 or the national regulation in the case of Spain is RITE, and I want to show you that you can use our ventilation selector software that is QuickFan, that has an implementation of a tool that allows us to calculate the necessities of ventilation by following the requirements of both ASRAE 62.1 and, for example, RITE in the case of Spain. Okay, let me show you. Please tell me if you are viewing correctly my screen. I am showing you now the main screen of the QuickFan software. Okay, this is a totally free program. You can download it in our webpage, totally free, and you could use it for your ventilation project. Here you have our online catalog, okay, with the different families of ventilation system we have in SODECA. Here, for example, you could find the hatch fans or the wall fan system that we talked in the previous slides about ventilation systems in industrial buildings. And here in the tools tab, you could find so many different tools in order to calculate ventilation system for so many different strategies. For example, pressurization of the evacuation routes, smoke evacuation, kitchen hoods, or others. Okay, here you have the tools in order to calculate following RITE standard or ASRAE standard. Let's, for example, do an example using ASRAE standard. Okay, we could do learning. Okay, we need to name the project. We need to select if we are using 62.1 that is related with non-residential buildings, or 62.2 that is related with residential buildings. Let's select the non-residential buildings, and here we can add the premises or the facilities we have inside our building. Okay, for example, office. Okay, then we need to select the facility group, that in this case will be office buildings. Okay, and inside the office building, the occupation category, that will be office space. For example, let's say that we have a 100 square meter office with an occupation of 70 persons, and here you have the total amount of the total flow rate we need to include in our project in order to just comply with the ASRAE standard. As we saw in the slides, this certification gives us extra point if we improve this ventilation system. For example, in the case of well, if we increase this total flow by a 30%, we could earn another extra point. And also if we use heat recovery units. So the program allows us to add this selection to a project. Okay, we can generate a new project 01, and we can open this project. Okay, it's a new screen. Okay, new window, and here we can go directly to the selection tab using the flow rate we have already calculated and selecting specifically heat recovery units. Okay, we need to take into account also the pressure drops. Okay, we need to calculate in our project, and here we can select the proper ventilation system, the proper heat recovery units for this total flow we calculate. Okay, we have different options, as you can see. In green is the one that adapts better to the parameters of flow and pressure drops. And here you can also select the equipment, review the curve of the ventilation system. Okay, review the general information, the technical characteristics, the dimensions, all the things we need to implement the equipment. Also, we can add some very interesting accessories. For example, we can add a specific sensor for carbon dioxide that will allow us to do an on-demand ventilation and to earn again extra point for doing this on-demand ventilation based on carbon dioxide. We also could add an extra stage in our heat recovery unit that will be, for example, ultraviolet C radiation chamber that could fit in some of the concepts of the WELL certification, for example, that give us extra point if we have a control of the microbe. Okay, so this could be a very good strategy to earn another extra point. And again, we can add to the project we have already created. Okay, and from here, we can create the report, okay? We can personalize the report, we can add our logo and select the categories or the information we could see in the report. And if we create this report, we could have in the same document both the calculation in order to certify that this calculation is made by using ASRISE 62.1 and the selection in the funds we do. In this occasion, the selection of the heat recovery unit we are using, okay? Here you have the PDF that we are generating by using very easily this tool. And in the PDF, we could find all the information we have, okay? Here we have the calculation, okay? Following ASRISE 62.1, the total flow we have calculated, the different supply flow rate and extraction flow rate we need to take into account. If we add more and more spaces, we can have the total amount of flow we need to use, and also the technical characteristics of the heat recovery units with easy plug fan motors, with thermal efficiency about 90%, with acoustic and thermal insulation, all the necessities we have in order to make our memory and make our projects, okay? So I think it's a very interesting thing to use the QuickFan tool in order to generate this report and help ourselves to make this project related with ventilation systems, okay? So we are finishing the presentation. I want to remind that we have a very experimented and very large team in the project department, okay, for consulting and design. And we are more than happy to help you with any project you have, specifically related with ventilation systems, okay? For a global approach in this kind of certification, probably you need to find help for the companies related with the global certification. But in the case of ventilation system, we could give you a help, a consulting, or even a design for the project you have in mind, okay? You could find in the QuickFan also all the 3D and beam form and fans models in order to include it in the projects. And I want to remind you again that make sure you follow us on LinkedIn to stay tuned on further micro learnings, okay? We will come back with the micro learnings in English after the summer probably, and we will make the ones related with indoor air quality and energy efficiency in this first part of the year. And on the second part of the year, we will focus on smoke management, pressurization system, ventilation in parkings, or related with smoke control and ventilation systems that we are using in case of fire, okay? So that's all for my part. Thank you so much for your attention. This is the time for the Q&A, all the questions you have related with the topic we are discussing today. So I encourage you to make your questions. And meanwhile, I am going to upload the PDF, okay, for you. You can download it easily. Let me find it. Okay, here you are. Okay, I think now you could download the presentation in PDF in the tab of documents in your panel control. So let me take a sip of water and let's start with the Q&A time, okay? Okay, I don't know if you have any questions. Please don't be shy. This is the best part of the presentation, to share the common knowledge and to share the questions we have. If you don't have any question in this moment, but you want to write us in the future, I think I share with you my email in the first slide. Let me move it to the first slide, so you can find my email. So any questions, any doubts, any collaboration you want to have with us related with any ventilation systems you could imagine, please just write an email. I am not seeing any questions. I hope it's because everything is clear and you don't have any doubt because of this. As you could see, this presentation, due to the time we have, because we want to focus on a very concentrated presentation, we just overview the possibilities of all this certification, but I hope you find it interesting. And if we don't have any questions, this is all for my part. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for following us in our training sessions. It's very important for us, and I think it's a very good thing to maintain ourselves informed about the news in our buildings, in our world. I think we have one question, okay, from Hanan Barelli. Which standard do you use in Europe? Okay, this is, I want to remind that these are not mandatory standards, okay, or mandatory certification. If you are talking about the standards related with indoor air quality, in Europe, each country has his proper regulations. In our case, we are using RITE. That we will you can find also the tool in QuickFan, how we calculate our total flow and our indoor air treatment solutions by using RITE. But at the end of the day, it's very similar to us, right? Okay, we base our standards in renew the air inside the building with enough fresh air, properly filtered, and by using heat recovery units in order to regain as much energy as is possible, okay? We have another question from Jose Diaz. Thank you for your presentation. Is there instructions to use the QuickFan tool? Yes. If you go to our web page, okay, let me show you that. I think is better. If you go to our web page, okay, and I show you how to download the QuickFan and how to see the instruction to use, okay. I think you could see now my screen with the SODECA web page, okay. Here in tools, you could find the QuickFan tab, okay. And here, by complementing and by filling this form, you could obtain a link in order to download the program. And here you could find some tutorials speaking about QuickFan, okay. Again, if you go to our YouTube channel, you could find another tutorials related with QuickFan, okay. There are so many in so many languages, okay. Here are in Spanish, but you could find even in English if you want to go deep in the using of QuickFan. And at the end of the day, if you have any question, you could contact us and we could manage to explain to you as many possibilities as we can by using our software, okay? So let's see if we have more questions. Okay, I think so. Okay, I think we have another questions, but are more related with a specific project you have. It's one of you that that want a specific collaboration of these kind of things. We can make contact later in order to speak about the specifications. Okay. So if we don't have more questions, thank you so much for being here again. It's very important for us to have this community of people interested in ventilation system. And again, see you soon. I hope we can contact and we can collaborate in the future. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Bye bye.